Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for listening. This is Tales from the Lockbox, and I'm your host, Josh Benoliel, VP of Sales here at Property.ca, home of condos.ca and Mr. Loft.ca. And today we are joined with a friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Parker from Parker's Moving. How's it going, sir?
Great, thanks. These lights are so bright, but the lighting's incredible in here. Nice to sit with you.
Sure you're glowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't have you looking bad on the internet.
I didn't know this was videoed. To everyone,
okay.
I would have been wearing jeans, so
No,
the dress
those look
code
good.
would have been smarter.
Those are nice pants.
Thank you.
I would have worn those pants.
Lululemon for anyone who's curious.
They look really good, and you got to be comfortable. Well, thank you for joining us, and let's get into it a little bit. You know, we talked about it a little bit with our agents here in Property.ca. They know who you are. For anyone listening, you know, what is Parker's Moving, and you know, obviously it's a moving company, but what is Parker's Moving, and what's making you guys stand out from the rest right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to, of course, we're a residential moving company. That's relatively black and white. But our vision, and my vision as an entrepreneur, is this is the third company I've helped start. I'm the owner. I'm the exclusive owner of it. My mission is how can I create incredibly secure jobs for people who deserve them, treat them like family, and then have my staff treat our clients like family. So this is simply a vessel for me to execute on my vision, which is, you know, our goal is to create 100 jobs.
Wow.
by 2030.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's
so
not about money; it's about jobs.
Yeah, and then the nice
Everything
thing
will happen accordingly.
Absolutely. So you create the jobs, you treat people well, you create the awareness, the people you've created the jobs with, service those with the awareness, and then hopefully, you know, money follows. But yeah, so the biggest differentiator I would say about us is everyone on our team is full-time, which is incredibly rare for a moving company because the business is seasonal.
Yeah.
So most businesses will scale up in the summer, scale down in the winter. The reason why we don't scale down in the winter is these are people's lives who have to afford car payments, afford groceries. So as a result, we take employment very seriously. We as a company, we sacrifice our revenue at the expense of our employees and keeping everyone happy. How that translates is when the guys are on the job, they're friggin' fantastic.
Right.
And everyone
have an ownership of your business, like
that. Yeah.
Big love.
Yeah, and then because we treat them so well, they're always on time, they're respectful. If you read any of our reviews, the thing that touches my heart the most is they're very emotionally based. You know, like we hire for kindness and we train for talent, and that really is the biggest differentiator. It's not how we wrap a sofa. It's not how we load a sofa. I'm shocked by how many times our clients don't even bring up the fact that we protected things properly. Like, that is the core competency of the business.
Yeah.
And yet they talk about how polite the guys were, how they helped the client's grandmother down a set of stairs. You know, if we can instill that level of kindness, and when you own a business like you guys do, you can put people ahead of profits.
Right.
And yeah, that's what's happening.
I think that was the most, like, the main reason why I wanted to get you out here on the pod was because, you know, I've talked to you, I've heard you say that statement that you just said before, and I think that it's less about talking about your moving company for me right now, and actually more understanding of like the culture that you've created and the business side of it, which is what was really intriguing to me. And I think a lot of our agents that are actually listening to it, or anyone listening to this, will actually benefit from listening to this right now, because you've done a fantastic job from what I've seen out in the city, what I've heard from people, where I'm seeing your trucks, how often I'm seeing them. Like, you don't just get more trucks on the road in the city of Toronto just because you
want more trucks.
You want more trucks. There's a reason you're getting more trucks on the road. There's a demand for it, and in a competitive business where you have companies that have been around for a long time, for a new company to come out there to get the trust of real estate agents that are, you know, and people who are moving their lives and everything they have, it's a big testament to a company that you've built. So, you know, that's I want to get into the story, like what kind of, you know, caused you to go ahead and actually get into, you know, you said you built 3 businesses. Why a moving company? How did that come about?
Yeah, so thanks for asking. I love telling the story. So I'm going to take you back to when I ran my own podcast, which was called The Lucky Few.
Okay.
And it was an entrepreneurial podcast highlighting people who were the lucky few who were young, relatable, and successful. All these podcasts were, you know, highlighting Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. They have billions of dollars. They're unrelatable for anyone trying to start a business. So I started the Lucky Few podcast. I met this gentleman that owned a full-service storage company. And this guy was really ambitious, and I pitched him on myself working as a marketing person for him without mentioning it was me. And he's like, you know what, this guy seems great. I'd love an introduction if you wouldn't mind. I was like, tricked you, it's actually me. He's like, oh, that's amazing. So I joined this company. It was called Second Closet at the time. And I was the 5th person there. And the company grew into, I think, to 85. And they raised a few $1 million. Now I think they're like 300 and something people.
Wow.
Anyways, I left that company because it unfortunately got like too corporate. And because of the money raised, they were, instead of putting people in front of profits, they were putting profits in front of people. So I left and I actually joined one of my clients at the time who was a high-end packing company. And we would create artwork, we would pack up a client's items, and we were dealing with everyone from very affluent individuals to celebrities. And then I saw in the whole realm of moving, from the agent to the stager to the painter, the weakest link was the moving company. They were late. They smelled like smoke often. They weren't in uniform. They weren't branded. They weren't kind. And you can understand why. I mean, if your guys aren't being paid well and they're seasonal, like, why should they care?
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I can do one better than this. And I was about to launch Parker's Moving, and I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, do I have it in me to be a real entrepreneur? And I actually got laid off from that packing company because COVID happened and there was no work. Because moving is an essential service, but packing is not.
Right.
So the
and you don't need people touching your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So the packing business, was put on pause, and my employer at the time, justifiably, like, I can't afford to pay you because there's not demand coming in. So I started Parker's Moving
During COVID,
March 1st.
where most good businesses right now came from.
Yeah, March 1st, 2020, I think. Yeah. Or 2021. I should really have that down.
Was it a year into COVID or the beginning of COVID?
It was the
March
year.
2020 was the beginning of COVID. That was when we went on lockdown, March 2020.
It would have been a year into COVID. So it was 20.
So you had a year so you took a year off, essentially.
I was still working during that time a little bit. But it was, March 2021. And I remember I booked a move with a family friend before I had the truck. And I only had like one guy and we needed 3 people for the job.
Wow.
So a week before the first job, our truck came in, I got it wrapped immediately, and then we started. And 2.5 years later, 2,875 moves later,
It's nuts.
16 full-time staff, 8 people on Flex. It's great.
Way to go, dude.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's amazing. Like, wow. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
sure.
go ahead.
How does Parker's Moving distinguish themselves from competitors with lower prices of service?
Yeah, great question. So we are tremendously competitive with pricing. People see our branding, they hear about us, and people are like, oh, you know what? I'm not sure if I want to pay such a premium on rates. We only have 2 charges. Our movers are $70 an hour per mover, and our truck fee is $295 for the entire day. Those are the only costs we have. A big thing that separates us is we don't charge any travel time to get to a client, and we don't charge any travel time to get back to our warehouse.
Big guys do charge those.
Everyone charges.
Yeah, I've paid that. I've paid those fees.
Yeah. So to answer that question, people don't hire us because of our pricing. We may be 5% more, but there are people that are 10% more, 15% more, 20% more. When our hourly for guys is $70 an hour, we have competitors charging $95 an hour. So to respond to that individual's question, it's all about transparency and peace of mind. So people will say to me, oh, you know what, this competitor is charging $350 less than you or $500 less than you, but I know what your guys look like. My friends used you. I know this is going to be a quality experience, and that peace of mind is worth it. And oftentimes on purpose, we actually overestimate jobs. Your client, I think we came in 15 minutes under the estimate. How nice is it for, like, most moving companies will lowball an estimate to get the move, and then it's 1.5. It's
more.
Twice the charge.
I've been there, yeah. So just to be right on point is a big thing.
Yeah. So just to further home the point down, we're competitive, but the biggest thing is we provide peace of mind, and that's why our clients decide to work with us. And if someone is exclusively price conscious, and we understand that finances are big, yeah, of course, sometimes we have the opportunities to add additional discounts, but what it comes down to is we're not for everyone, We don't want every single client. We know where we fit in. And if someone has an amazing deal from another mover and they don't need our level of service and they can't afford it, even though we're middle of the road pricing, we're not going to service every client. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
Just like all of your agents aren't serving every single type of client.
Absolutely.
Everyone needs to know where they fit in.
niche.
Yeah.
So that leads me into my next question. Whoever asked that question, thank you very much for bringing that up. What's the kind of mindset behind this? I would assume that it's not the easiest business to run. There's a lot of moving parts. There's logistics, being an entrepreneur, starting up a company, getting to this level of 16 full-time employees, 2,800 moves. What's the motivating factor behind this? What's the mindset behind it? You mentioned it to me before, creating jobs. So let's dive into that a little bit. What is that? What's creating that?
So I love helping people through a stressful time. Moving is statistically, I think it's the third most stressful thing a person can go through. One is loss of a loved one, understandably so. 2 is loss of a career. And then 3 is moving. Moving is daunting AF. So many decisions that need to be made, taking all your possessions and then relocating. You guys also have to understand, a lot of people are, maybe not in this office, but a lot of people are moving because of unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
They got divorced, they've lost a loved one, they've had a natural disaster happen to their house, their business has gone bankrupt. So those are very stressful times. So I love taking a stressful experience and rising to the occasion and walking someone through that. And for us,
softening the blow.
Yeah, absolutely. And just making the whole experience seamless. For us, it starts with our 15-minute virtual walkthrough, when right away I can see the person's energy on the FaceTime that I'm doing, and I can see the blood pressure decrease as the call goes on, because that's why we're here. So my motivation is to be a local hero in Toronto and help as many people as I need. Also make agents look like rock stars in front of clients, because there's so many agents, as you guys know, giving someone an opportunity to stand out. And then most importantly is, sorry to put the clients at second and the agents at second, I want to take care of my team. We've got people who are sponsoring, who've come over from Mexico, who are relying on the incredible people, Mexico, Philippines, Spain, Brazil, who need these jobs to create a life for their families here. So that's kind of my motivation.
Amazing. I love
My
that.
dad is an orthodontist, and he's had a staff of 15 for about some of them have been with him for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I look up to that as a way to create jobs for people. And if we can create 100 good jobs that people love coming to work,
It's a good thing.
that's pretty fun.
My dad was the same way. He had staff that were working for him before I was even born.
Yeah.
And still to this day they're together. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
How old are you
cool.
now?
How old am I? That's a secret. That's not on podcast land.
Sure.
Not on podcast land. We can talk
Yeah.
about that after. All right, let's get into some other questions here. So we kind of got into this, what drove you to start your own company. Another one I wanted to add here is how do you find realtors are using your services to add value to their clients? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but is there something that's really driving it home? That's you talked about tools in a toolbox, but is there something that you hear back from clients that my realtor did this, or how does that
Absolutely.
come together?
Absolutely, 100%. It happened 5 times yesterday, so it's extremely fresh for me. When you sell a client a property, or you help them get out of their property, whatever, they're elated because you've just facilitated that transaction. But then they have this huge weight on their shoulders. Oh shoot! Now I have to move everything and organize and declutter and sell.
It's brutal.
It's a lot of work. Even I just recently moved, not recently, 2 years ago, I moved back into a property I own, and I had my own team help me, and I was like, this is so much work. And I was moving from a condo to a condo, never mind houses. So what I see is people, honestly, they'll give them the resource guide, and they do an email introduction with me and our packing partner called The Moving Genie. So there's a lady named Sage Goldenberg, and please look it up now. She owns a company called The Moving Genie.
Okay.
And the name is as such because she is the genie of moving. You
Okay.
have a wish and she makes it happen. So we are, in our lane, we are exclusively the movers. Sage Goldenberg and her team at The Moving Genie, they do organizing, decluttering, they facilitate garbage disposal, they facilitate furniture sales, and they do all the packing.
Wow.
So they come in first, then we come in. And to any one of our clients that need, they have a house that are moving, or they have, money but not time, they do an email intro with Sage and myself, and then we take it from there, and the agent steps back, and the client just gets taken care of like extremely, extremely well.
White glove.
White glove. And then it's all thanks to the agent. Like all our clients are saying like, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, thank you so much for the introduction. I have 2 kids, I have a job, so does my partner.
Can't even think about it.
There's no way we could have been able to do this on our own. So that's really it. Now, I'm not ignorant to the fact, like, it is not your agent's job, or it's not you as the agent to do all the work. You should just be the Rolodex.
Right.
Rolodex, stand back. And if your vendors like us or like the Moving Genie are good at what they do, we should make you look like rock stars and give you the peace of mind to refer without any of the headache of being on the hook for if something goes wrong. If there's anything that goes wrong, it's never you as the agent. It's up to the vendor to fix the scratch, fix the pull in the fabric,
Of course.
Yeah, it's up to us.
And I think, that's a really good point there. Like, you're going so hard as an agent to get the deal done with the client.
Yeah.
Like, you're really, I know our agents are out there putting everything they got, especially right now, to get these deals done, to put them together, to make the client happy. To be able to offer a service that takes that, like, yes, there's an excitement, like there's a peak, right? You're like, people are stressed out, they're looking for a house. You buy the place, there's like a peak. Then it's like, okay, there's like this high that's created, and then it kind of drops down as like, okay, we bought the place, and then you walk into your house and you're like, and now we got to move. And I've personally recently been there. It's like, you don't even know where to begin. So to be able to offer clients a service like you mentioned with somebody like the Moving Genie and then Parker's Moving, who literally will just come in and say, what do you want us to do here? Like, you have X amount. Okay, this is what we can offer you for X amount, or how much have you allotted to this? And, 10 grand, whatever the number is, how do you put it together? And being able to say, we're going to come in and we'll pack all your stuff for you the way you want it. We'll organize it. We'll move it. We'll even unpack it for you the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Is such a beautiful thing to offer as an agent to your clients, because they don't know how to put these things together. They will just start calling random moving companies. And it's important to also urge like how a good quality team and company behind it makes a big difference in that process as well. And coming from an agent, it's somebody you just trusted to spend $1 million or $4 million or whatever the number is, to be able to say, hey, here's the person that I'm recommending to use, goes a long way as well.
Can I give advice to, like, if I was an agent? Now, the fact is...
That's why you're here.
Yeah, so the reality is everyone who's watching this who's an agent, I don't know what your top performers are doing. Let's just say they're doing massive amount, 25 deals a year.
Yeah.
Right?
We have agents who are doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, so, okay, let's just say...
They do a lot of rentals to our guys.
Of course.
But that still needs moving too.
Yeah, no, of course. Everyone who's... But let's just say
25.
an agent is seeing like 75 transactions a year, which is insane.
We have people like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Kudos to you if you're in that bracket. I'm seeing 100 moves a month.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm seeing like 1,200
moves a month.
Yeah. So I'm just using
How many moves
that.
you got going on today?
4.
Wow.
We have 4 house moves today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you think the real estate market is dead and no one's buying or selling, he's doing 4 moves today and 100 moves this month. In the month of November 2023, 100 moves this month. Market ain't dead.
Yeah. Also, people need to move because they're doing renovations. Not everyone is appointed to point.
But there's still majority of it.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah. So if I was an agent, knowing what I know about how people think, I would. So if I closed a deal with a client, I would, first of all, we're branded like crazy.
I was going to bring that up in a bit,
Yeah.
how branded you are and how often you bring in branding.
Yeah. So if I was an agent, I would be equally as branded.
Yeah.
I would go to Vistaprint and I would print these like 2-inch across stickers with my face on it and a nice tagline and like my phone number and email.
Yeah.
If I closed a deal, I would buy a bottle of Veuve Clicquot champagne, which is I think $83, peanuts to a commission of a deal.
Yeah.
And I would buy 1 big bottle and 2 small bottles, and I would put my sticker on each one, and I'd write a card and say, congratulations on your new house. The big bottle is for you and your family to enjoy when you move in, and the 2 smaller bottles are for friends or family of yours who need help with a real estate purchase or sale that want the same level of experience that you just
I like
had.
that. Good
So
tip.
what's nice about that is you're empowering someone who just is so stoked about your service to actually, you're empowering them to give the gift to friends of theirs, right? So they're getting the big one, and the small ones I think are like 20, 30 bucks. But then someone comes over like, hey, friend, I know you were looking at like a condo. This is from my realtor. Enjoy. Anyways, it's such a small thing, but I've seen some agents do it, and it's a great way to spread
Totally.
your knowledge by empowering someone who's so happy with your service to give a little gift to someone else who needs it. If I was an agent, which I'm not, it would just be like, how can I empower my happy clients to spread the word and also treat them to something?
Yeah, we had an agent on here a week or two ago. He's done, I think, in that 75 range, transaction range. A lot of leases, but he's still a lot of work that he's
Yeah,
putting
of
into
course.
it. And he has like one of our highest number of referrals on our platform. And it's like, how are you getting that level? And he's like, oh, I'm hitting people right away, right when we're closing that deal. Like that's when I'm asking for that referral right away while they're in that area of happiness and that area of stoke, and using that to continue on the experience.
Yeah.
So good food for thought.
Yeah, I want to add to that.
Yeah,
so
please.
everyone knows Tony Robbins. He's worth like probably $1 billion now. So he does these hugely expensive seminars in person. They're like a full week. I think they're like $10 or $15 or $20,000. They're expensive. But there was a study that was shown about his return rate based on when he asks people to subscribe again. And what the study showed is that when he would ask people to re-sign up, right at the end of the course, while they're still in the room, while the climax is happening, it was like a 5 times higher rate than if people went home, they acclimated back to their family life,
Changes.
and then they sent an email, hey, would you like to come next year? So getting, striking while the iron's hot and your client is so happy, justifiably so, with what you've facilitated for them, that's a great time.
Amazing. I've definitely been in the courses, and they've sold me on the next year course right away. When it's walking out.
Yeah, me too.
Another one here, and this kind of goes into your branding. Every time we've been around you, you've been so branded. Whether you've walked in here, you've given pens. Your pens are fantastic, by the way. I have them all over the place. They're really good quality. I enjoy them.
Nice.
Now you brought us these beautiful water bottles, which I'm excited to use. You always got your shirt on. It's always branded. The trucks everywhere. So, what are some of the things that you do from a customer service perspective that also help you stand out? Like, I see the marketing side of it a lot. What's happening, and you've talked about going above and beyond in other ways. The first time you walked into one of my offices, you walked in with a Keurig, an espresso coffee machine, and 26 sleeves of coffees, which to this day we're still using in the office in
Good.
North York. What are some of those things that you can relate into the business, and also agents can take some thought from your, take a page out of your book to relate it to how they could be better.
Yeah, so
You do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you do a great job, man.
So the whole purpose of me speaking here is, I hope this is not just a monologue, but this is giving people like tips, what they can say. If I say 10 things, maybe 2 are not good, 5 are average, and then 3 are, 3 are very helpful for everyone. So in terms of customer service and how we're standing out, we start every interaction with a 15-minute virtual walkthrough. Some people are like, oh, I've got to get on a camera. Can't I just send you an inventory list? Can't I just send you photos? The truth is, no, we want to start the relationship by a face-to-face interaction over a screen so that people don't have to put on makeup at their own homes.
Right.
So we do a 15-minute virtual walkthrough. Then another thing which is great for customer experience, most moving companies will send an estimate within 48 hours. We send it within 4 minutes of the call
Speed
being
to
done.
lead.
Yeah. So while we're doing the virtual walkthrough, I'm typing up everything, because how wonderful is it for me to say, by the way, Josh, you and your partner Jeff, your lead, your estimate should be in your inbox now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's here. Okay, I'm still waiting on 3 other estimates. Oh, when are you getting them? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But didn't they do the walkthrough yesterday?
Yeah.
So personal interaction, speed in terms of getting people the information. Why make someone wait?
Yeah, if
Right?
you have it and you're done, just send it to them.
Yeah.
Speed to lead.
It's like the Apple store, how they don't make you stand in line to check out their products. They have their terminals and they can come to you. Why would you make someone wait to give you their money?
Yeah.
Lastly, I would say is leading up to the move, we have 2 points of contact. So we email our clients a week before with all their information that we have in terms of, Josh, don't worry, you're still on our calendar.
Right.
We're going to be arriving at this address at this time. Here are the name of your movers.
Okay.
2 days before, our head of operations calls, hi, Mr. Client, my name is Gabriella. I'm your point of contact for the day of your move. Just want to know if you have any questions. And we actually ask for photos of the place so we can see the status of packing.
Right.
So we can give any last minute
that.
advice.
Yeah.
Because we can, because then the client is like, oh, shoot. Aaron and Gabrielle are going to see these photos. I better hustle.
Yeah.
You know?
We got to produce.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If clients aren't ready for us, then our estimate can be out the window, because if nothing's packed and they spend like 4 hours packing while we're there, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to our guys.
No, they got to have it ready to go.
And then lastly, we call at 12:30 p.m. during the move. So our guys arrive at 9:30. So 3 hours into the move. So yeah, in a few hours, we'll call. Hi, Jeff. Just Jeff and
How's it
Josh.
going?
Just checking in how the guy's treating you today. Oh my goodness, the guys are so kind, and if there's any issues,
Nice touch point there.
yeah.
You're spearheading it.
And then we send them the final invoice the next day. So it's just like, the fact is we're holding their hands throughout the entire process, and people like it. Mm-hmm. We find that that's the correct amount of touch points. Anything more is like, okay, leave me alone.
Right.
I'm trying to move here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting. Like, I relate to a lot of the things that you said within a real estate business there. Like, having a video call, adding value, like not making people leave their house, but also connecting with somebody in person. Huge touch point. That's one of the big things we're talking with our agents about all the time, is like, when you speak to a lead, send them a video recap follow-up afterwards, or try to get them on a Zoom call. I know when we work with our mortgage broker, one of our agents, the best thing he does is he's setting up Zoom calls all day with the mortgage broker in person. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, they're getting that done. Having that touch point of like, the night before we're coming, one of the things that I do a lot, is a nice value point, is I actually send an email to my clients prior to taking them out on showings the day of or the morning of, saying, from my system will automatically do it, say, hey, hey John, you're meeting Josh today at 3:00. You're going to see these 3 properties at this time. It will approximately take this much time.
That is
while you're
so
on
awesome.
showings, this is how much you'll be meeting here, you'll be parking here. Like, I kind of summarize everything that's going to be happening.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would love that.
and then even like, and it's a really nice kind of trying to get to that white glove service point there, so that they're getting it and following that process. So those little touch points go such a long way.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if you realize the magnitude of what you're doing is just you're setting that expectation of the client's time. Yeah. Everyone's time is valuable. Whether you're showing them a $600,000 property to, I'm not even kidding, some properties are like $16 million in this city.
Right.
If I'm your
Which
client,
is cheap. I was just in LA. That's cheap.
Yeah. If I'm your client and I know what my day is going to look like,
yeah,
and I can book my meetings around it, like, that would provide me a lot of peace of mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Last question here. This is called Tales from the Lockbox. You've now done 2,800 moves. You've seen some stuff. Don't lie to us. Tell us the truth. Give us the deep down, the grunty, the dirty, the hot, the heavy. What's the one story that's sticking out from the rest from all these moves?
I wish I had So one thing
doesn't have to be crazy.
Yeah. One thing I will say is, I know if a move's going to go well based on who the person is that we're moving.
Okay.
Because a packing partner of ours would always say, like, expect 3 things to go wrong on a move. And if nothing does, this is the best move in history. And if 1 thing goes wrong, still amazing. If 3 things go wrong, that's what you expected. Sometimes you have clients who that, like, regardless of how well the day is going to go, they're going to, like, find something. We had a move. It was a Rosedale move. And the client had estimated that they were going to have like 80 boxes. Then a professional packer came in. They had 495 boxes.
Oh God! And they didn't update you?
And they didn't update us. And like,
that's
we asked,
a couple more trucks than you need.
Yeah, it's just we ended up like we needed twice the crew.
Right. You need more people and more space.
And more trucks. They were moving from Forest Hill to like another property close by, so we can do 2 trips. But we ended up having to double the team. Wow. Which was wild, because they had 6 people on the move and then they needed 12. So the fact is, like, what was amazing to me is in our group chat, other teams were hearing what was happening on that job. It's very, very rare. That's why it's like one of the only stories. But what was amazing for me is our other team leads were like, hey Aaron, we're done our job. Would you like us to come help? And then we had 2 other crews like show up, and honestly, like, it honestly made me cry. Like the fact that, and then our teams were taking photos of like the trucks arriving, and I felt like it was a Star Wars episode with like the ships coming.
Reinforcements, the teams are coming. Blue team coming in, we got truck coming in.
Yeah, but
Love that.
Why this story stood out is that was great, but then the client was like, why is it going to be more expensive? And like no one updated us. And anyways, that was one of the jobs that made us put into play our certain practices, so this like never, ever, ever happened to us again.
Well, you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Another story which is just really cool for me is myself, yourself, all of the agents watching this, you get an understanding of if someone's like leaving a, I don't know, $800,000 property, they're not going into a $16 million property. Like that's just an obvious. We had this one move, and it was like the first 2 months of business. We moved this incredibly, incredibly easygoing, relaxed guy. He was in a 650 square foot condo. Something peaked to me that like all of his furniture was like LT and Restoration Hardware, and everything was just gorgeous.
Okay.
But we didn't realize that this was just like a stopping ground for him. We moved him into like a penthouse, like a 2-floor. It was a $14 million penthouse in one of like the popular buildings with an own pool on the thing. And our movers were like, we're moving this guy into like the craziest property we've ever seen. So it was interesting for us that you can never judge a book by its cover. I mean, nor should you ever, but it's very rare to see such an upgrade in property.
Stuff's, you never know. People are making big money in different ways.
He owns a financial firm, and he's doing okay.
I can probably guess where it's coming from.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much, Aaron, for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Really enjoyed this. Guys, Parker's moving if you're out there. I'm Josh Benoliel, your host again. This is Aaron Parker. Thanks for coming out, brother.
Thanks, man. It was
Have
great.
a good one.
Really appreciate it.
Stay happy
Thank you, guys.
Ciao.